I'm Matt.
Hey, I'm Steve.
Hey, I'm John.
This is the Sober Friends Podcast. We're here for the sober curious, the new guy, and the old timer. We're here to talk about the stuff anyone looking to live alcohol-free has to face day to day, and how we overcame those struggles. We speak for no 12-step group, but we do try to remain anonymous. You're not alone. This is the Sober Friends Podcast. Oh my gosh, Steve, can you imagine it's finally summer in New England?
Yeah.
And I think the key to that is the 40-degree weather that we've had over the last week.
Right.
That tells us in Connecticut, it's summer.
That's right. You know, it's great to be with you, Matt. I got together with some cousins, and I have an aunt who lives in Florida who came up for a wedding for one of her grandchildren. And she was like, this is my first time coming up here in May, and I don't think I'll be back for a while. You know, it's like, 40-something degrees, 50 degrees, rain. Doesn't bother me, it really doesn't. And but I get it that we're all looking for a little bit of warmth. My daughter's having a little cookout today. And, you know, it's going to be 60 degrees. And, you know, it's not for us older folks, for my wife and all, it's not a great day to go sit outside at 60-degree weather. Cloudy, 60 degrees and sun, fine, Give it to me. But cloudy, like it's going to be overcast today. But that is New England. We've had a wet month of May, and it'll change. It'll change.
Yep. I went to go get plants yesterday, and it only rained hard when the sun was out. So you're going to a cookout.
Yeah.
If I'm a brand new person, what do I do for that first cookout or summer activity and not get blotto drunk?
Yeah. It's a good question. It's something that, you know, we all had to negotiate at some point in our sobriety journey.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, I hear a lot of people really poo-poo it, thinking that it's easy. It wasn't easy for me.
Nope, wasn't easy for me.
Early on. Like, I was really nervous going to functions where there's alcohol, especially family function where there's alcohol, right? Because those were places where not so much my daughters, at this point my daughters, but if it was a siblings party or even a cousin's party, I could drink openly pretty well, right? And I wouldn't look out of place. So it was very, very difficult for me. Early weddings, stuff like that, were places where I'd really go and get, you know, I wouldn't always get hammered in those, but man, I would really be like getting a good start. And then I'd, because I never wanted, I always said there were two people. I did a lot of my drinking in private. So there was two things. I'd go out and really lay the base down, and I would look like, oh, he's having fun just being a normal drinker, and then go home and drink the rest of it. But yeah, always difficult. If you're new, you need a strategy, right? You need a strategy.
Yes,
you do. You need some plans, and that's where a program like AA and some of the stuff we have, and having that fellowship, doesn't even have to be AA, but if you have a fellowship, if you have some type of network that you could go and do some work beforehand, and have a plan, right? What we always talk about, have a plan. And so you don't get trapped in a place where you're really uncomfortable. So yeah, take some work, take some guidance, and maybe early on you need to stay away from them, but that's a personal choice. But you got to think of those things.
Yep, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to go through all those things if you're brand new, or even if you've been around a day or two. That these can be challenging. The social events have more alcohol, longer days, warmer weather, unless you live in Connecticut. Make you feel like it's easy to look at the warm weather as I got to drink, which also goes into FOMO. I didn't even know the term FOMO when I got sober, but that was a total thing for me of I fear that I'm going to miss out on the fun. And if I don't drink and have a good time when the weather's nice, I am doing myself a disservice.
Yeah.
And you have to acknowledge your past habits. You've created a habit, especially I did in the summertime, of this is what you do when the weather's warm, and then everybody else seems to be drinking. I feel like I'm going to be sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, back in the day, we're recording this is, it'll drop just after Memorial Day weekend. And these were weekends where I really, especially when I was younger, and like these were big drinking weekends for me.
Absolutely.
Big. And I would always and this is what I mean, like I always thought I would drink responsibly because I would do most of the time, I would do my big drinking on Sunday so that I had Monday to deal with the hangover. And I thought, well, that was responsible. I truly thought that was responsible drinking because I would have to go to work on Tuesday. But that's what I thought about, how to do it. But this was all big. We'd go to a park here in Connecticut, go, different places we'd go, and we would just hang out. And, for us, most of the time that included some type of keg beer or something like that. And just loads and loads of alcohol. And you're right, that FOMO, I never really even thought about it as it applies to my drinking. But there's lots of things that, and you hear about it all the time. It's like, how am I going to negotiate life and have fun without alcohol? And that's a challenge in our brain, right? In our brain more than it is in reality, because I think what you'll find, and at least in my experience, is that when I have gotten sober and I go to these functions, a lot of people aren't drinking like I used to drink. Actually, most people aren't. Some of the parties I go to, of course, but most people they're just not. And there's still a lot of fun. I can do everything I did when I was drinking without the alcohol, and that it's okay for me to do all that.
It is baffling to me to see people not drinking the way I drank. Yeah. That they go to social events, they hold a glass of wine, and that glass of wine goes with them for the evening.
Yeah.
That is absolutely baffling to me, but it is the norm.
It is.
And you see it now that you're sober.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's, it was difficult because I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but I think I would see the people, and I would see the people, right? Like if I was at a party that had a keg or had whatever it might be, some type of booze available, pretty much just walking up to it. Pretty much I'm hanging out with people who are walking up and getting a beer as much as I am, right? Like
yes.
That's who I'm hanging around. That's who I'm talking to. Not always. Again, obviously there's going to be some other interactions there, but like that's who I'm with, and and so that's what I see. I don't see those people who, like you said, who have that beer or whatever, and they're nursing it, or the other people that really confound me. Like, they'll have 2 beers, and then hey, want me to grab you? No, I'm good. Mm-hmm. I'm driving. No, I shouldn't have another beer, right? Like you shouldn't have another drink after 2 beers. Like those type of people always. I was baffled by them,
Yep.
And but today I'm not. Today I see a lot of people, almost everybody I'm out with today, either moderate drinkers or non-drinkers, right? And people who can handle it. But I couldn't. I needed a lot of work when I came in early. Like I needed a lot of help in order to figure out how to negotiate that. We had to take all the alcohol out of my house.
That's pretty normal.
Right. We had to take, I've talked about it before, but until I got comfortable around alcohol again, because my wife is a drinker, a social drinker, she can have a glass or 2 of wine and not, not get crazy about it. But until I was able to get comfortable with that, we had to get the booze out of the house, right? I couldn't even have it in my house. And I know a lot of people still today won't have it in their house. We do, because like I said, I live with a person who's a normal person who does like to have a glass of wine now and then. And I can't, I don't want to send her out to have that glass of wine all the time. So we have it at the house. And I've become comfortable. I'm comfortable with it today, and it's not a big deal for me today. But early on, new sobriety, it was a big deal, and I always had a plan. And I had a plan because I got a sponsor, and my sponsor told me I needed to have a plan. Like I would talk,
Absolutely.
I would tell my sponsor what's going on. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I'm going here or I'm going there, and we would talk about it. And then I'd have a plan, and he would say, "What's your plan?" And then we would talk about that plan.
So this is where a sponsor really is key, and you're jogging my memory here because it's been a while since this was my story. It's been a while since 2014.
Right.
And having to check in with a sponsor or another person to help you hold yourself accountable is so helpful. And I've done it for other people who are new.
Yeah.
Of, okay, let's sit down and talk about this, of what you're going to do. And having that sponsor of like, I'm going to, I'll give you an example here. Is I remember I went to my niece's graduation party. So I knew I had to have a plan here. And I talked to my sponsor about it, and we talked through of, I'm doing this, what should I be thinking about? And for me, it was bring your own beverages. I haven't really drank it since then, but I had this kick of a couple months of the San Pellegrino juice-infused sparkling water, which was incredible. I think it was good for me then because it's just loaded with sugar. Yeah. But those things are so freaking good. Yeah. Bring your own beverages.
Right.
Have a plan of how you walk in and how you have to leave if you have to. If you have to just get the hell out of Dodge, then that's what you need to do because the sobriety is important. One of the things that's something you can utilize is the word no.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And if you have to leave early, you take off. What helped me at that party was I had a newborn daughter, and somebody had to like take her into the other room, feed a bottle, settle her down and stuff. And I was super dad because I needed a break from being around all the booze.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the type of plans you need to have, right? Is that you need to be able to look at that like, oh, I'll go do that. I'll go change the baby. I'll go take I'll take the anxious or rambunctious child and do something with them. Like you need to be able to do if you have that available, but you need to have those plans, and it's so important. It's so important to me. It was so important to everybody around me for me to have those plans. I just one of the other things that I've thought about is that I always was aware, not when it was happening, but when I got sober. Like the other thing that you have to be aware of is those people who are at the party, and you've talked about this, who are always pushing booze on you. Hey, have one. Oh, you can have one, right? Like you have to be aware that those people are out there, right? And they may be former drinking partners, right? I had a lot of family members who were my drinking buddies. So those were all the type of things that I had to be very much aware of. And it was pretty good for me. Like I didn't get pushed on too much, but I hear stories where people, get, constantly being offered, no matter how many times you say that word, and it's a complete sentence, no or no thank you, right? You really have to be prepared to do that. And then you have to, I saw something on social media just the other day, and somebody was talking about Irish goodbyes. And if you know what an Irish goodbye is, if you don't,
love that term.
Right. And if you don't, go look it up, you'll find it. And they were saying we should promote Irish goodbyes. And again, absolutely. Right? And it's like I have a big family. So there were times I would if I go to a wedding, right? I mean, I can't walk around and say goodbye. Like I just needed to get up and go, something, it's time for me to go. There might be a couple people. If I'm at a wedding, I'll say goodbye to the people at my table, maybe the bride and groom if they're not busy. And then I'm out. I'm gone, right? No wasting time. I'm out of there and go home and get myself in a safe place.
It is okay to be rude in support of your sobriety. Yeah. Sobriety is more important than being polite. Yeah. If you've got to hightail it out of there because you are not feeling it or you are feeling all kloogy about the booze all around you, then you need to get the hell out of there. You're benefiting nobody if you're really being super polite, and then you fall off the wagon there.
Yeah, when we were discussing about our topic this morning before we started recording, we talked about the newcomer and all the the people and how they deal with it. And it was interesting because on my Friday night men's meeting, we had two people in there. One guy who opened the meeting. It's a topic discussion, and he's talking about how he's not a young guy, but he's fairly new in sobriety. He's got some medical stuff going on, and basically he was saying he had the fuck it, He didn't, he was just like, why shouldn't I drink? I got this prognosis of this medical thing, right? He was really in a bad spot. And then after he got done sharing, he apologized for sharing that, And when I had a chance to share, and the other guy said it too, and I just said to him, man, don't ever apologize for coming to an AA meeting and saying you feel like drinking or get the fuck. It's like, that's how we survive, right? By doing that stuff. And that's how we survive, not only in mostly early sobriety, but that's how we survive all the time. And then there was also a young guy who came in late, after the meeting had started a little bit, and brand new, first time at the meeting, 19 years old.
Wow.
19 years old. And it was like, man, we all just looked and shook our head and like, if this kid could make it, right? If he could make it now, then he could have a wonderful life for himself.
Absolutely.
It's hard. But so it's just interesting. Like those were two new people who came in, and they're gonna both have to negotiate this weekend of whatever it might be. Maybe not everybody gets invited to picnics and booze things either. But they will have to negotiate it somewhat and figure out what they're gonna do. And that's why the fellowship. That's why having people in your lives in recovery is really important.
This is where there's a huge benefit to 12-step groups, especially early on, as you can build a network. And if you take this seriously and you get people's phone numbers, if you are in a tough situation, like there's a lot of booze at a picnic, you have phone numbers that are in your phone. You can call people. Having a bunch of people that you can pick up the phone and call when you're at a party because you're struggling is so important. And it may not even be the whole, I'm struggling, I don't know if I'm going to take a drink. It's just, hey, I'm really uncomfortable. I'm at this picnic and I just don't like being here because the booze is all around. That was something that I utilized all the time early on. Baseball games, cookouts, celebrations. And what helped me is just hitting the numbers and hit send. Yeah. Because I was fine once I did that. It's the big hump is just actually calling somebody. This to me was the most important thing. And people who have experience in sobriety are going to totally understand the phone call on Memorial Day weekend from a newcomer.
Yeah.
Because they've done it. To me, that's the best thing you could do.
You know what I did early on, and you just prompted a memory for me, is that early on when I went to some of these things, especially I can remember exclusively a wedding. I'm sure I did it more than that. I would have a plan. Like I literally would have a plan, and I would tell if the wedding started at 4, right, and I would tell my sponsor, I'll call you right around 7 just to check in. Right, you might have the wedding, and then you got the little happy hour, and then they do the reception with the food and all that. So it takes a while to get everything going. So I'll call you around 7, and I'll tell you am I comfortable, am I uncomfortable, and that way I could have somebody to bounce it off. If I'm saying, man, I'm really uncomfortable, then he may tell me, time to get out of there, then, man. Time to get out of there and do it. So I would have that plan, and I would make sure, or I would tell somebody, hey, listen, I'm going to this function. If you see a call come in from me, please answer it, right? That means I need to talk to somebody.
Yep, you're doing your prep.
Right. And I may tell 2 or 3 people that, right, just in case, right? So, and again, those are the type of things that I did that just helped me through those early days of sobriety, those early years for me. Really, is what it came down to, where I needed to find a place where I could get comfortable with myself, so I could trust myself to go out. And it just so happens I got a text message. I got some high school buddies that I still see. We still get together. They were all big drinking buddies of mine. They still drink when we all get together. There's a couple of us there's two of us who are in recovery, and so we hang out together a lot when we go. And there's a couple other guys who don't drink that much who show up once in a while. But there's a stag party for one of our buddies' kids. He was a police officer killed in the line of duty back in the 90s. And they reached out, hey, we're going to go to Matthew's stag. And I was like, I don't see these guys enough. So I'm like, I don't know if I've gone to a stag party since I've been sober. Right? And I told him, like, oh, yeah, I'll go. Right? It's at a place where I know I'm comfortable with. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. It's a Friday night, 6 o'clock, because today I can do that, right? Today I can do that. I can go there, and it doesn't matter how crazy things get. I could hang out with my buddies for 2 or 3 hours, and then, boom, I'm out of there, right?
Yep.
And if it's a couple hours, whatever it is, like if things start getting crazy, whatever it is, I can get out of there. But again, I'm comfortable doing that today. And I can do that pretty much like you said. Like, it's been a while since I had to call somebody and say, hey, I'm going to a stag party. I need you to be available. And the other thing is I have lots of numbers in my phone today. And if I wanted to talk to somebody, I could just start dialing until somebody picks up the phone, right? And eventually somebody would pick up that phone and talk to me on a Friday night.
Mm-hmm. I think you also have to reframe what fun looks like now.
Yeah.
And also, what do you gain? Because it's easy in those situations, and this is, I think, planning ahead as well. You have to plan ahead of what you're going to experience, but you also can't have that mindset of, I've lost everything. This is going to be miserable every single time. Right. The first times are the hardest. You're going to go to a lot of these things if you choose to stay sober, and how they feel will change. My first summer, it stunk. Going on vacation, I was depressed, and I wasn't miserable the whole time, but it was up and down, and it's much better from there. You start to learn about, what do I gain by not drinking at these events? I'm not hungover. I don't act like an asshole. I actually make a real connection with people, and I'm listening. I can get up in the morning and remember everything and have energy. It's really about, what does fun mean now that I'm sober? And you can go to, if you're part of AA, a lot of areas have sober fests that you can go to, a specifically designed event with sober people where there is no alcohol, and get taught how to have fun when there's no booze around.
That's a great point, and I didn't think about it because I don't typically do these things. But we happen to live in an area where there's 2 sober clubs, fairly close, right, to both of us. Like, and you especially, like, you're probably right in the middle of both of them. One of them I live very close to. And they always have a function. Like, I'd be willing to bet that the place next to me, a place called Pathfinders, I'd be willing to bet they have some type of hot dog cookout going on this weekend. Yeah. And for $10 probably, you can go there, and exactly like you said, you can go there and you can have some food, and you could see how you can have fun without the alcohol. And this is the whole point, right? And like, all the things that you would typically do are going to be there. Nowadays, if you want, throw the bags, play cornhole, horseshoes, whatever, like, all of those things are available still. And you can do them sober. And so if you live anywhere that's you have a drivable club, recovery club next to you, you might want to look at that too, because those are great places to go hang out on a weekend like this, and just figure out how to negotiate life. If
you don't struggle with this because you've been sober for a while, it could be service work for you to go to those
Right.
and teach new people, or just be an example. Go, not because you need it, because you can be an example and show people how to stay sober at events like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you go there, and again, if you're looking for service work to do, that's a perfect place to do it. If you're looking for people to help, i.e. sponsees or something. And again, we've talked about this. I don't look for sponsees. I don't go chase them. I don't offer myself as a sponsor unless somebody's asked me to be their sponsor.
Yep.
I will tell somebody, you need to find a sponsor. Like, you need to find a sponsor. And if they say, well, are you available? Then we could talk about that. And that's not why I'm telling somebody they need to find a sponsor. But that's a great place to go, see new people, make yourself available. And it is a great place to go to see. I know you've done some of the higher level service work. It's a great place to go just to meet people. Listen, I love the fellowship. I do. I love going to meetings and walking into a room and seeing people that I know, especially meetings where, maybe I don't go to regularly, right? I walk in there and I see the people. It's like, oh, it's so great to see these guys. It's such a benefit for my life to have that. And, that's, a big part of my life today is going to meetings and making myself available to help other people and sharing that. So it's available for everybody. It takes a little work early on, and it's not easy. I'm not going to kid you. It could be difficult. Those days could be difficult. You know what you would think that, I don't know. You were saying something, the thought will come back to me. I lost the thought of something you were sharing on, but.
Because you're old.
I am old. Trust me. I am old. It'll come back to me, and if it doesn't, that's fine.
I think this is just worth thinking through, that if you're brand new and you feel like, oh my goodness, it's summer, it's Memorial Day weekend, it'll be 4th of July, how am I going to do this? You're okay.
Yeah.
That this is not abnormal thinking. This is really normal. You're feeling normal right now. Now the key is, what do you do about it? Which is why we do this podcast, which is why if you go back in the archives here, I think we have a bunch of these episodes where we talk about how to navigate the summer and social events sober. And we're going to keep doing them to put them at the top of the feed to give you new advice. And I think if you listen to all of these in the feed, you're going to learn something new, even though there's repetitive stuff.
Yeah.
Us alcoholics need to hear things over and over and over again for us to get it. I would say the last thing that you have as an option in a lot of places is go to a meeting. Even if you're not part of AA, because you don't want to drink, you have automatic membership if you want it. And there are a lot of times that there are meetings going somewhere near you that you could duck out, drive to a meeting, go to a meeting and come back.
Yeah.
That's an option for the fact that there's so many meetings. You could go in the house or whatever, go into a quiet spot and go to a meeting on Zoom.
Right.
That exists now.
And that's a perfect thing, Matt. If you're new and you're not sure about it, and you're just thinking about sobriety or maybe not drinking, and you're thinking, oh, it's a holiday weekend, everything's closed. AA doesn't stop on holidays, right? Many groups, not all groups, but many groups, all the groups that I go to. And I just brought this to my Wednesday group. Our Wednesdays group ended up being Christmas and New Year's. And they were like, oh, we don't usually have meetings. And I'm like, oh, somebody should be here. Like, that's just how I was taught. Somebody should be here.
Absolutely.
So on Christmas Day, we didn't have anybody coming over. We did all our stuff on Christmas Eve. I told everybody, like, I'll just go there and hang out on Christmas Day. I'll open up the meeting, the place. And if anybody shows up that they need a meeting, I'll be, somebody will be there for them. And, so don't think that they won't have a meeting because it's Memorial Day weekend or tomorrow being Monday, Memorial Day. Meetings will still happen. People will be there for the most part at meetings. So if you are looking for a meeting and you're new and you're not sure how they work, still go. still reach out and still go. And I think you'll be surprised that not only that, but maybe how many people show up on a Monday, Memorial Day weekend, and go to a meeting.
Mm-hmm. Service work. It's service work for me if I go to one, because I think about this somebody may need a meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may not need it.
All right.
But somebody may, so I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
It's your turn now. You know how to get in contact with us. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Matt at soberfriendspod.com. On the Substack, which is at soberfriendspod.substack.com, you can put a comment below the Substack article. I'll be writing a little bit about this topic. It's always a little different from the podcast, because some people need to read it and some people need to hear it.
Yeah.
Steve, have a safe Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, Matt. You too.
And we will see everybody next week. Bye, everybody.